Good morning, students. Welcome to chemistry class. This is Vivian Raju presenting the today's lesson. Today's topic is the periodic properties. In the periodic properties, we are going to discuss the atomic radii and ionic radii in this lesson. You know that in the long form of the periodic table, the elements are arranged in the increasing order of the atomic numbers. It reflects the electronic configurations of elements. In the long form of periodic table, each period starts when the electron enters in a new shell. According to that, the first period has only 2 elements, second and third periods have 8 elements each, fourth and fifth periods have 18 elements each, and sixth and seventh periods have 32 elements each. As this periodic table reflects the electronic configurations, the elements which possess the similar properties lie in the same group of the periodic table. We already discussed that there is a relation between the electronic configurations and the properties of the element, as the properties mainly depend upon the number of electrons in the valence shell. As the elements in the group possess the same number of electrons in the valence shell, they possess similar properties. The elements which possess the similar properties in a group are obtained by the addition of 8, 8, 18, 18, 32 and 32 in any group. For example, in the first group, the atomic number of first element is 1. By adding 2, we get the atomic number of second element, that is 3. By adding 8, we get the atomic number of third element, that is sodium. By adding one more 8, we get the next element in the same group, that is 19. By adding 18, we get the atomic number of the next element rubidium in the first group, that is 37. By adding one more 18, we get the atomic number of the next element cesium, that is 55. By adding 32, we get the atomic number of the next element of francium in the same group. In the same way, in the second year group or second group, 4 plus 8 12, 12 plus 8 20, 20 plus 18 38, 38 plus 18 56, 56 plus 32 88. In the same way, in the last group, that is in the 18th group or 0 group, 2 plus 8 10 plus 8 18 plus 18 36 plus 18 54 plus 32 86 plus 32 118. In this way, the intervals of the atomic numbers in the elements of group are 8, 8, 18, 18, 32 and 32. These are the intervals between the atomic numbers of the elements in a group. That means from this we can understand that the elements with similar properties repeated certain regular intervals when the elements are written in the increasing order of the atomic numbers. The periodicity and periodic properties. The repetition of elements with similar properties at regular intervals is called periodicity. The property which repeats at regular intervals, or there is a regular gradation in the property from one element to the next in the period or group, is called periodic property. Atomic size, ionic size, ionization energy, electronegativity, electron affinity, valence, etc. are the periodic properties. Now let us go to the first periodic property, that is atomic radius. You know that atom is a microscopic particle. Its size is measured by assuming it as in the spherical shape. So the size of the atom is expressed in terms of atomic radius. The atomic radius can be defined as the distance from the center of the nucleus to the outermost shell of electrons in the atom of any element. So how is the atomic radius of an element defined? The distance between the center of the nucleus and the electron present in the outermost shell of the atom can be defined as the atomic radius. But there are some limitations in measuring the atomic radius. What are the limitations in measuring the atomic radius? One is atoms cannot be isolated. We cannot handle a single atom. Even you take some micrograms of substance, it contains millions of atoms. So the size of the atom or the radius of the atom cannot be calculated. So this is one of the limitation in measuring the atomic radius. What is it? We cannot handle a single atom, that is, atom cannot be isolated. The second one is, you know that electron revolves around the nucleus in the form of a three-dimensional wave. The wave spreads in the region around the nucleus. That is, electron is not at a fixed distance from the nucleus all the times. Sometimes at some instants it comes close to the nucleus, and in some other instance it moves away from the nucleus. That is, the distance of electron from the nucleus is not constant. Moreover, according to the uncertainty principle, the position of an electron cannot be determined very precisely. That means there is no well-defined fixed boundary for the electron cloud. We consider the electron cloud which covers the maximum probability of finding electron around the nucleus as the orbital. So there is no fixed boundary to the orbital. So it is not possible to pinpoint the position of an electron precisely. Next one is, the size of the atom depends upon the type of atoms in its neighborhood and also the nature of bonding between them. That is, the atomic size of an atom is not same in all its compounds. For example, the compounds like HCl and HBr. HCl is a compound, HBr is a compound. The size of hydrogen atom may not be exactly same in HCl and HBr. In the same way, H2O, water and ammonia. Here also, the size of the hydrogen atom depends upon the number of neighboring elements. That is, it depends upon the nature of the element to which it is attached and the number of neighboring elements also. In the same way, phosphorus trichloride and phosphorus pentachloride. In these two compounds also, the size of the phosphorus atom may not be the same in both the compounds. In some cases, the nature of bond also will be changed. For example, HCl. The bond present in HCl is covalent bond, whereas in sodium chloride, the bond present between sodium and chlorine atoms is ionic bond. The nature of the bond is changed between these two compounds. So here, the similar element chlorine may not possess the same size in both the compounds HCl and NaCl. So because of these limitations, the size of the atom cannot be measured directly. Because of these limitations in measuring the atomic radius, the atomic radius is measured indirectly for different types of elements. These sizes are generally expressed in terms of effective radii. The atomic radii are generally expressed in terms of effective radii. So these are usually expressed in terms of crystal radius, covalent radius, and van der Waals radius. Let us see what crystal radius is. The crystal radius is usually used for measuring the size of metallic elements, metals. The covalent radius is used for measuring non-metals and the metals which form covalent compounds, and metals which form covalent compounds, that is less electropositive metals. And van der Waals radius is usually used for measuring the radii of non-metals which form only the covalent compounds. For inert gases also, the van der Waals radii are used for measuring the radius. Atomic radii are expressed in terms of angstrom units, nanometers and picometers. 1 angstrom unit is equal to 10 to the power of minus 8 centimeters or 10 to the power of minus 10 meters. 1 nanometer is equal to 10 to the power of minus 9 meters. And 1 picometer is equal to 10 to the power of minus 12 meters. Now let us go to the crystal radius. I already told you that the crystal radius is generally used for metals. In the metals, the atoms of metal are arranged in a three-dimensional manner. This kind of arrangement of metallic atoms in a three-dimensional manner is known as crystal lattice. In this crystal lattice, same kind of atoms, that is atoms of the metal, are arranged one around the other. In this, half of the internuclear distance between the adjacent atoms of a solid metallic crystal is called crystal radius or metallic radius. The crystal radius is also known as metallic radius. What is it? There are so many atoms which are arranged in a systematic manner like this in three-dimensional way in the metals. Like this. There is a regular arrangement of atoms. Suppose this is one atom of the metal in the metallic crystal. This is the neighboring atom of the metal in the metallic crystal. These are the nuclei of those two metallic atoms, and the distance between them is d. Then crystal lattice is half of this distance. That is, crystal lattice R is equal to d by 2. So how is the crystal lattice defined? Half of the internuclear distance between the adjacent atoms of a solid metallic crystal is called crystal radius or metallic radius, as this crystal radius is mainly used for metals. Next, covalent radius. This is mainly used for the elements which form the covalent compounds. Generally for the homonuclear covalent compounds. Homonuclear covalent compounds are the covalent compounds which are made up of same kind of atoms. For example, AA, the molecule A2. The molecule A2 is made up of same kind of elements A and A which are bonded together by covalent bond. This kind of molecules are said to be the homonuclear molecules. If a molecule, a diatomic molecule, is made up of two different kind of elements known as A and B, that molecule is said to be heteronuclear diatomic molecule. The covalent radius is defined for homonuclear diatomic molecule like this. It is defined as the of the internuclear distance of two atoms held together by a covalent bond. How is it defined? Of the internuclear distance of two atoms held together by a covalent bond is called covalent radius. This is a homogeneous diatomic molecule. In this homogeneous diatomic molecule, in the formation of a covalent bond, some part of atom are overlapped with each other. Some part of atom are overlapped with each other. This part is common to both the elements. This part is common to both the elements. That means this part is overlapped between two atoms. So, half of this distance, the distance between A and A, suppose if you make this half, that half of this distance, that is this distance, is said to be the covalent radius. The covalent radii are generally used for nonmetals. In the case of a heteronuclear diatomic molecule, the distance between two atoms of different elements is measured. If the covalent radius of one of the atoms is known, the covalent radius of the other atom can be calculated. Let us see how it is. In the case of homonuclear diatomic molecule A2, covalent radius Ra is equal to AA bond length in A2 by 2. That is equal to dAA by 2. The AA bond length in A2 molecule by 2 gives the covalent radius of homonuclear diatomic molecule. Whereas in the case of heteronuclear diatomic molecule AB, the bond length D is equal to, that is, bond length DAB is equal to covalent radius of A plus covalent radius of B. Here, there are two different molecules A and B. The covalent radius of A is this one and the covalent radius of B is this one. Both are not identical here. So, if the distance between A and B is measured and if one of the radii is known, we can calculate the radius of the other element. So, DAB is equal to radius of, that is covalent radius of A plus covalent radius of B. That is dAA by 2 plus dBB by 2. For metals, the crystal radius is slightly more than the covalent radius. How is this crystal radius defined? In the definition of crystal radius, we considered that two atoms are just touched to each other. Suppose these are the nuclei. This is the distance between the two atoms and half of this distance is defined as crystal radius. Whereas in the case of covalent compound, some part of atom is overlapped between two atoms like this. So, the distance between the nuclei of two atoms which are bonded together by a covalent bond is a little less than the distance between two atoms which are adjacent to each other in the metallic crystal. So, in this half is defined as the covalent radius. So, here the crystal radius is slightly greater than the covalent radius in the case of metals. The covalent radius of an atom decreases with increase in the number of bonds between them. In the covalent compounds, there is a possibility of existing multiple bonds between the same atoms. For example, in the carbon compounds, the carbon-carbon single bond exists, carbon-carbon double bond exists, and carbon-carbon triple bond also exists. In ethane, there is a carbon-carbon single bond. The formula of ethane is C2H6. There is a carbon-carbon single bond in ethane. What is this compound called? Ethane. In ethene, there exists a carbon-carbon double bond. Here, in ethine or acetylene, carbon-carbon triple bond is existed. This is ethene and this is ethine. The carbon-carbon bond is different in the three compounds. So the length of carbon-carbon single bond is experimentally found to be 1.54 angstrom units. The length of carbon-carbon double bond is found to be 1.32 angstrom units, and the length of carbon-carbon triple bond is found to be 1.20 angstrom units. Here we can observe that the carbon-carbon single bond is longer than the carbon-carbon double bond, which is longer than carbon-carbon triple bond. That means the atomic radius in the compound containing carbon-carbon single bond is more than the atomic radius of carbon in the compound containing carbon-carbon double bond, which is more than the atomic radius of carbon in the compound containing carbon-carbon triple bond. In this way, the atomic radius of carbon is not the same in all the compounds of carbon. It depends upon the nature of bond by which the atom is associated, and it also depends upon the number of neighboring atoms also. Next, van der Waals radius. Half of the internuclear distance between the two non-bonded atoms of different molecules which are very close to each other due to van der Waals forces is called van der Waals radius. What is van der Waals radius? This is also half of the internuclear distance. Crystal radius is half of the internuclear distance. The covalent radius is also half of the internuclear distance. The van der Waals radius is also half of the internuclear distance. But crystal radius is half of the internuclear distance between two metallic atoms in the crystal lattice of a metal, whereas half of the internuclear distance between two atoms in a homogeneous diatomic molecule is defined as the covalent radius, whereas half of the internuclear distance between two non-bonded atoms of different molecules which are very close to each other and due to van der Waals forces is called van der Waals radius. The atoms are not bonded to each other, but they are very close to each other due to van der Waals forces. Then half of the distance between those atoms is considered as the van der Waals radius. For example, this is an A2 molecule, this is another A2 molecule. One A2 molecule, homogeneous diatomic molecule, another homogeneous atomic molecule. Like chlorines, suppose this is a chlorine molecule and this is another chlorine molecule. The distance between the nuclei of two chlorine atoms within the molecule is the bond length. Half of this bond length is covalent radius, whereas in between two diatomic molecules in its solid state, the van der Waals forces exist to associate them together. You know that a gas can be converted into liquid state and liquid can be converted into solid state. In the solid state, the molecules are at their closest approach. That is, the distance between the molecules is minimum when they are in the solid state. In that solid state, still there is a gap between one molecule and the other molecule. Still there is a small gap between one molecule and the other molecule. So the half of this intermolecular distance between the chlorine atom of one molecule and the chlorine atom of a neighboring molecule, which are not bonded by covalent bond but are associated together by van der Waals force, is known as the van der Waals radius. In the metallic crystal, you observe that atoms are just touched to each other. In the covalent compound, some part is overlapped. In between the two molecules of covalent compound, there is a gap. From this, we can understand that the van der Waals radius is greater than crystal radius, which is greater than covalent radius. The van der Waals radius is greater than crystal radius, which is greater than covalent radius. Usually, the van der Waals radius is 40% more than the covalent radius. So, in this way, for metals, the radii are measured in terms of the crystal radius or metallic radius. For non-metals, the radii are measured in terms of the covalent radius or van der Waals radius. For the elements which do not form the compounds, like inert gases, the radii are measured only in terms of the van der Waals radii. Next, factors affecting the atomic radius. What are the factors on which the atomic radius depends? One is the nuclear charge. The second one is the number of orbits or shells. Number of orbits or shells according to quantum mechanical model. Orbits are to be replaced by shells. Nuclear charge, number of shells, and shielding effect or screening effect. Nuclear charge. You know that the charge of the nucleus depends upon the number of protons present in the nucleus. Number of protons present in the nucleus, that is atomic number. You know that in the periodic table, the elements are arranged in the increasing order of their atomic numbers. When we move from left to right in the periodic table, the variation of atomic number or nuclear charge from one element to the other element is 1 unit only. Whereas in the group, the change in the atomic number is either 8 units or 18 units or 32 units when we move from one element to the other element in the group. As the atomic number increases, that is the nuclear charge increases, the force of attraction of the nucleus on the valence shell electron also increases. The force of attraction of nucleus on the valence shell electron increases as the nuclear charge increases. So the size of the atom decreases. An increase in the nuclear charge causes decrease in the size of atom. Increase in nuclear charge causes decrease in the size of atom. Okay. That means the atomic radius decreases due to decrease in the size of the atom. Next, number of shells. Suppose this is the nucleus, first shell, second shell, third shell, fourth shell, and so on. As the number of shells increases, the distance of electron from the nucleus increases. If the distance of electron from the nucleus increases, the electrostatic force of attraction between the nucleus and electron will be decreased. As a result, the size of the atom increases. Because of the addition of more and more shells, the size of the atom increases. So, increase in number of shells causes increase in the atomic size. Increase in nuclear charge causes decrease in atomic size. Increase in number of shells causes increase in the atomic size. And the next one is the shielding effect or screening effect. What is this shielding effect or screening effect? In the case of multi-electron systems or multi-electron atoms which possess a large number of electrons, the electrons present in the inner shells repel the electrons present in the outer shell. The electrons present in the inner shell doesn't allow the electron present in the outer shell to have the complete effect of nucleus on it. That means the electrons present in the inner shells act as the screens between the electrons present in the outer shell and nucleus. Because of this reason, the nucleus cannot show its complete effect on the electron present in the outer shell. This effect is known as screening effect or shielding effect. The more the number of inner shells, the more will be the screening effect. If screening effect is more, effective nuclear charge will be less. If screening effect is more, effective nuclear charge will be less. Z star. If Z is the nuclear charge, Z star is the effective nuclear charge. Z star is equal to Z minus a constant value, that is screening constant known as sigma. You will learn how to calculate this sigma value, that is screening constant value, in the next class, where Z star is the effective nuclear charge. The more the number of inner shells, the more will be the screening effect. As a result, the sigma value will be more. If sigma value will be more, effective nuclear charge will be less. What is shielding effect? The electrons in the inner shells act as screens between the nucleus and the electrons in the outer shell. As a result, nucleus cannot show its complete effect on the outer electrons. This effect is known as screening effect or shielding effect. So these are the three factors which affect the atomic radius. Increase in screening effect. If the screening effect increases, what is it cause? Increase in screening effect causes the effective nuclear charge decreases. As a result, the size of the atom increases. In these three factors, nuclear charge causes decrease in the size, and the other two factors, number of shells and shielding effect, cause increase in the atomic size. The total radius of the atom or the size of the atom depends upon the combined effect of these three, that is nuclear charge, number of inner shells, and screening effect. Next, let us go to the periodic trends of atomic radius in a period. How do the atomic radii vary in a period in the periodic table? Atomic radius decreases from left to right in a period. When we move from left to right in a period, the atomic radius gradually decreases. Let us see the elements in the second period. Lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine and neon are the elements in the second period. Their atomic numbers are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There is a variation of 1 in atomic number. The nuclear charge is same as the amount of number of protons present in the nucleus, that is atomic number. The nuclear charges of these elements are plus 3, plus 4, plus 5, plus 6, plus 7, plus 8, plus 9, plus 10. Their electronic configurations are 2s1, 2s2, 2s2, 2p1, 2s2, 2p2, 2s2, 2p3, 2s2, 2p4, 2s2, 2p5 and 2s2, 2p6. From these you can understand that the outer shell is same for all the elements. That means the valence electron or the differentiating electron is more or less at the same distance from the nucleus in all the elements in the period, as the outer shell is same. Let us see the covalent radii of those elements which are given in picometers. The radius of lithium is 123 picometers, beryllium 89 picometers, boron 80 picometers, carbon 77 picometers, nitrogen 75 picometers, oxygen 74 picometers, fluorine 72 picometers. That is from first A group to seventh A group. Lithium belongs to first A group. This is second A group. This is third A group. Carbon belongs to fourth A group. Nitrogen belongs to fifth A group. Oxygen belongs to sixth A group. And fluorine belongs to seventh A group. From first A group to seventh A group or first group to 17th group, the size of the atom gradually decreases. From fluorine, that is from 17th group to 18th group, the size of the atom suddenly increased. The size of fluorine is 72 picometers only, whereas the size of neon is 131 picometers. It is almost double, more than 60% excess than the size of fluorine atom. It is bigger than even the first element lithium. In a period, first element has the highest size and the 17th group element has the least size, but the element in the 18th group possesses the highest atomic radius even than the first element in the period. The reason is all these radii measured for these elements are covalent radii, but in the case of inert gas neon, the radius measured is not covalent radius, this is van der Waals radius. That is the reason. You know that van der Waals radius is approximately 40% more than the covalent radius. As neon cannot form the covalent bond, we use van der Waals radius for measuring the size of neon atom. So here we observe that there is an abrupt increase in the atomic radius from 17th group element to 18th group element. What is the reason? The radius of 18th group elements are van der Waals radii, whereas the radii of up to 17th group elements are the covalent radii. That is the reason. The graphical representation of the variation of atomic radius in the period can be observed like this. Sodium, that is with atomic number 11, for element with atomic number 12, decreased, decreased, further decreased, further decreased, further decreased, further decreased till chlorine. From chlorine to argon, there is an abrupt increase in the atomic radii. This is the graphical representation of the variation of atomic radius in the second period. In the other periods also, the radii vary like this. All these elements are the representative elements or S and P block elements. Representative elements and inert gases, that is S and P block elements. So in the S and P block elements, the atomic radii gradually decrease from first group to 17th group, and from 17th group to 18th group, there is an abrupt increase in the atomic radius. Let us how the atomic radii vary in the D block elements. You know that the D block elements start from fourth period. After the filling of 4s electrons, the next electron goes to 3D. It starts in fourth period. The elements in the fourth period are scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc. Here the atomic radii are given in terms of angstrom units. The atomic radius of scandium is 1.44 angstrom units. The atomic radius of titanium is 1.32 angstrom units. For vanadium, 1.22 angstrom units. For chromium, 1.18 angstrom units. For manganese, 1.17 angstrom units. For iron, also 1.17 angstrom units. For cobalt, 1.16 angstrom units. For nickel, 1.15 angstrom units. For copper, 1.17 angstrom units. For zinc, 1.25 angstrom units. From these, you can observe that there is a small decrease in the atomic radii of the elements from scandium to manganese. There is a decrease in the atomic radii from scandium to manganese. From manganese to iron, there is no change in the atomic radius. And iron, cobalt and nickel almost similar. Atomic radii are almost similar, 1.17, 1.16 and 1.15. There is a small decrease here only, but after nickel there is an increase in the atomic radius in the case of copper and zinc. Again the atomic radii increased in these two cases. Here almost normal, there is decrease in the atomic radius in these elements. What is the reason for this? The atomic number of scandium is 21, titanium 22, vanadium 23, chromium 24, manganese 25, iron 26, cobalt 27, nickel 28, copper 29, zinc 30. Here the d orbital starts filling. Which d orbital? n-1 d orbital starts filling in the d block elements. That is, the differentiating electron is not entering in the valence shell. The differentiating electron is entering in the inner shell. The differentiating electron is entering in the inner shell. That is, the inner shell, d orbital of the inner shell is successively filled in all these d block elements. In the fourth period, the 3D shell is being filled. Fourth shell is the outer shell. Third shell is the penultimate shell. That is, d orbital of the penultimate shell is being increased. When we move from scandium to titanium, atomic number increases by 1 unit. But the electron is present in the d orbital. The number of electrons present in the d orbital increases the shielding effect. The shielding effect is more in the case of d orbitals. Here, from scandium to chromium, the effect of increase in Z, that is, effect of increase in Z, let us take it as Z effect. This Z effect is greater than shielding effect. The Z effect is greater than shielding effect up to manganese. In the case of iron, cobalt and nickel, here Z effect is, that is, effect of increasing nuclear charge is almost the same as the screening effect. In the case of copper and nickel, as the inner electrons are being increased, being very high, the screening effect is more than the Z effect. That is, effect of increasing nuclear charge is less than screening effect. That means, in the first few elements, that is scandium to manganese, the screening effect is not able to nullify the effect of increasing the nuclear charge, as there are less number of electrons in the d orbital of the penultimate shell. In the case of iron, cobalt and nickel, they almost nullify the effect of increasing the nuclear charge. The screening effect almost nullify the effect of increasing the nuclear charge. Whereas in the case of zinc and copper, the screening effect overweighs the effect of increase of nuclear charge. As a result, we observe the decrease in the atomic size up to manganese. Then the line will be almost parallel and then again increases. We can see this in this graphical representation. Scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc. The variation is not exactly linear. This is just like decreased from scandium to nickel. From nickel onwards, there is an increase. In between these, for iron, cobalt and nickel, at this iron, cobalt and nickel, it is almost parallel, almost horizontal. That means iron, cobalt and nickel almost possess the similar values of atomic radii. So decrease can be observed up to manganese. From manganese onwards, there is no much difference in the atomic radii. From nickel onwards, again atomic radius increases. This is the variation of the atomic radius in the D block. The decrease in the atomic radius in the D block elements is comparatively less when compared to the decrease in the atomic radius in representative elements. There is a more decrease in the atomic radius in the representative elements compared to decrease in the atomic radius in the D block elements. The reason is the differentiating electron enters into the inner orbital, that is penultimate shell. As a result, as the screening effect increases, as the screening effect becomes more and more due to the increase of number of electrons in the inner shell, the decrease in the atomic radius is less. Increase in screening effect causes decrease in the attraction of nucleus on the outer electron. As a result, the decrease in the atomic size is more pronounced in the representative elements when compared to D block elements. In the same way, if we go to 4D series elements, yttrium, zirconium, niobium, molybdenum, technetium, ruthenium, rhodium, palladium, silver and cadmium. In this also 1.62, 1.45, 1.34, 1.30. Technetium is an artificial element. Ruthenium 1.25, rhodium 1.25, palladium 1.28, almost similar here. Again, in the case of silver and cadmium, the atomic radius increase. From yttrium to molybdenum, atomic radii decreased. From molybdenum, the atomic radii decreased here also. But in the case of ruthenium, rhodium and palladium, the atomic radii are almost similar. From palladium, again it starts increased to 1.34 and 1.48. We observe the same kind of variation in the atomic radius in the 4D transition series also. In the same way, 5D transition series, lanthanum, hafnium, tantalum, tungsten, rhenium, osmium, iridium, platinum, gold and mercury. Here also we can observe the same kind of decrease up to 1.68 to 1.28. After that 1.26 for osmium and iridium, and again it starts increased. In the first few elements, the effect of increasing Z overweighs the screening effect. In the middle elements, the Z effect is, that is effect of increasing nuclear charge, is almost nullified by the screening effect. And in the last elements, the screening effect overweighs the increase in the nuclear charges effect. We already discussed the variation of atomic radius in the 3D series. Now let us go to the variation of atomic radii in 4D series and 5D series. 4D series elements are yttrium, zirconium, niobium, molybdenum, technetium, ruthenium, rhodium, palladium, silver and gold. The 5D series elements are lanthanum, hafnium, tantalum, tungsten, rhenium, osmium, iridium, platinum, gold and mercury. These values, metallic radii, are taken in picometers on the y-axis, and increasing atomic number is taken on the x-axis. Here As we move from left to right, the value decreases to certain value, moves parallel to some extent and increases. In the case of 3D, the atomic radii are less. But there is a difference between the atomic radii of 3D elements and 4D elements, but the atomic radii of 4D elements are almost similar to the atomic radii of 5D elements. There is no gap between the atomic radii of 4D elements and 5D elements. Actually, if the same trend is continued here, the third line is to be observed here like this. The third line is to be observed here. But instead of having a gap between these two, the two lines are almost coincided here. That means there is no much variation in the transition elements of fifth group and sixth group. That is, the 4D series elements and 5D series elements do not have much variation in their atomic radii. This is due to the presence of f orbitals in the sixth main energy level. For the 5D transition elements, lanthanum, hafnium, tantalum, tungsten and so on, the 5D orbital is being filled. There are 14 f electrons in between 6s and 5D. The f electrons are inner to 5D, as the number of electrons in the antipenultimate shell increases, the nuclear charge also increases more, but f electrons cannot screen the outer electron more effectively as they are more diffused. The s electrons are more penetrated towards nucleus than p electrons. The p electrons are more penetrated than d orbitals, and d orbitals are more penetrated towards nucleus than f orbitals. So the order of screening effect will be s electron is more than p electron, and p electron is more than d electron, and d electron is more than f electron. So f electrons are not able to screen the outer electron more effectively. Here the screening effect is less, but the increase in the atomic radius is more. That means the screening effect cannot nullify the increasing the atomic radius. As a result, the atomic radius gradually decreases in the case of 4F series. This effect is known as lanthanide contraction. Due to lanthanide contraction, the atomic radii of 4D series elements and 5D series elements are almost similar. There is a steady decrease of atomic radius in the case of F block elements, that is cerium to lutetium. This steady decrease observed in the lanthanide elements is said to be the lanthanide contraction. Consequences of lanthanide contraction. The consequences of lanthanide contraction are atomic sizes of 4D and 5D transition elements become almost equal. We observed this in the graph. This is due to which their properties are very close. For the same reason, the properties of 5D series elements and 6D series elements are very close to each other because of the similar size. And zirconium and hafnium resemble very closely. Zirconium and hafnium, in the same manner, niobium and tantalum, they resemble very closely. The tungsten and molybdenum, these resemble very closely, as their atomic radii are almost similar. Next, the crystal structure and other properties of lanthanides are very similar. Because of the same sizes, same number of electrons in the valence shell and penultimate shell, the crystal structure and the properties of lanthanides are very similar. Because of that, the separation of lanthanides by using either the physical methods or chemical methods will be very difficult. So it is not easy to separate the lanthanides from the mixture. These are the consequences of lanthanide contraction. Next, periodic trends of atomic radii in a group. We know that in a group, as we move from top to bottom, one extra shell is being added. For example, in the first group, the elements are lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. For lithium, second shell is the valence shell. For sodium, third shell is the valence shell. For potassium, fourth shell is the valence shell. For rubidium, fifth shell is the valence shell. For cesium, sixth shell is the valence shell. As one shell is being added when we move from one element to the next element in a group, the size of the atom gradually increases. Not only the size but also the nuclear charge. Here, the nuclear charge of lithium is 13 units. The nuclear charge is 11 units. Atomic number is increased by 8. And again, atomic number is increased by 8. So, nuclear charge of potassium is 19 units. For rubidium, 37 units. For cesium, 55 units. So, nuclear charge is increasing by 8, 8, 18, 18 differences. Outer shells are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here, both the effects can be observed. Both the effects are observed here. What are the three effects? Effect of increasing nuclear charge. If the nuclear charge increases, the size of the atom decreases. If extra shell is added, the size of the atom increases. As the shells increase, the shielding effect increases. So, among the three factors, two factors are favorable to increase the size and one factor is favoring to decrease the size. The combined effect of these three factors causes an increase in the size. That means the addition of new shell and the screening effect cannot completely nullify the effect of increase in the nuclear charge in the case of elements in the group. So when we move from top to bottom in a group, the atomic size gradually increases. Let us see the variation of atomic sizes in the first year group and second year group. This green colored line represents the variation of atomic sizes here. First year group, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium. But the increase is not same. From lithium to sodium, there is some increase in the atomic radius. From sodium to potassium, the atomic radius is increased more. From potassium to rubidium, there is an increase, but the curve is a little bit flat. That is, a small increase is observed from potassium to rubidium. From rubidium to cesium also, a small increase is observed. The reason is, here till potassium, there are no d orbitals. We can observe the same kind of trend in the second year group elements also. That is beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium and radium. In the beginning, the increase in the atomic radius is observed more. As we move down the group, the increase in the atomic radii is gradually decreasing. That kind of trend can be observed in the atomic radii in the elements in a group. The same kind of trend is observed in the other groups also. Next, ionic radius. That is radius of an ion. The effective distance from the center of the nucleus of an ion up to which it has an influence on its electron cloud is known as the ionic radius. Suppose there are two different ions in an ionic compound. For example, sodium chloride. In ionic compound, there are two ions, a cation and anion. This is positively charged ion, this is a negatively charged ion. The cation has influence on the electron cloud up to some extent, some distance. Up to which distance the effect of this positive charge or negative charge is perceived or seen is known as the ionic radius. Here, usually the size of the cation is smaller than the size of the anion in the ionic compounds. The anion is bigger in size and the cation is smaller in size in the ionic compounds. the sizes of atoms, cations and ions. You know that a cation is formed by the loss of one or more electrons. M gives rise to electron and M plus. Or a metal M gives rise to 2 electrons and gives M2 plus. Or M can lose 3 electrons to give a tripositive ion M3 plus. So metals have a tendency of losing 1 or 2 or 3 electrons. As a result, they form the monopositive, dipositive and tripositive ions. In the formation of ions, what happens? The size of the ion will be less than the size of the parent atom. Size of ion is less than the size of the parent atom. What is the reason? There are two reasons for that one. One is the disappearance of the valence shell. Second one is the increase of effective nuclear charge. For example, if you consider sodium gives 1 electron and changes to Na plus ion. The electron distribution in sodium is 281. If the electron is lost, it will be lost from the valence shell. So the electron distribution in Na plus ion will be 28. Here the outer shell is disappeared. In sodium atom, the outer shell is the third shell, whereas in sodium ion, the outer shell is the second shell. In the same way, magnesium electronic configuration is 282. It loses 2 electrons and give magnesium ion, a dipositive magnesium ion, in which there are only 10 electrons. So the distribution is 28 only. Here, third shell is the valence shell in magnesium atom. Second shell is the valence shell in the magnesium ion. That is, like this, in the formation of a cation, the last shell, that is the valence shell, may disappear. If the valence shell disappears, the penultimate shell becomes the valence shell. As a result, the size of the atom decreases. That is, the size of the cation is smaller than the parent atom. On the other hand, it can be happened in some other way also. For example, in the case of iron, atomic number is 26. Electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 3d6. This is the electronic configuration of iron. The valence shell is fourth shell. Iron forms Fe2 plus ion. In the formation of Fe2 plus ion, it loses the 2 electrons in the valence shell. So its configuration will be argon, that is 18 electrons, 3d6. Here the valence shell is the third shell in the Fe2 plus ion. Valence shell is third shell. Iron can also form Fe2 plus, that is ferrous form of iron can be changed to ferric form by the loss of one more electron. If iron loses one more electron, its configuration will be Ar 3d5. Here the shell is not disappeared in this change. In the change of ferrous ion to ferric ion, there is no disappearance of the valence shell, but the number of electrons is decreased. The number of electrons decreases, the screening effect decreases. The screening effect decreases. If the screening effect decreases, the effective nuclear charge increases. You know that the effective nuclear charge Z star is equal to Z minus sigma. If sigma decreases, Z star will increase. So effective nuclear charge increases. An increase in the effective nuclear charge causes a decrease in the ionic radius. So ionic radii, that is the radius of cation, is smaller than their parent atom. How is this possible? It is either by the disappearance of valence shell or by the increase of effective nuclear charge. In some cases, the valence shell is completely removed in the formation of cation, whereas in some other cases, though even the valence shell is not completely removed, some electrons are removed. Because of that, the effective nuclear charge increases as there is no change in the nuclear charge. In the same way, anions are bigger than their parent atoms. The cations are smaller than their parent atoms. In the same way, anions are bigger than their parent atoms. Anion is formed by the gain of electrons by the neutral atom, X minus, or X gains 2 electrons to form X2 minus. So in the formation of negative ions, usually a new shell will not be added. The shell will be completed with, the outer shell will be completed with 8 electrons. A new shell will not be added, but the electron cloud expands. Electron cloud expands due to less effective nuclear charge. As the number of electrons become more and more, but there is no increase in the charge of the nucleus, the effective nuclear charge decreases. As a result, the electron cloud expands. Due to the decrease in the effective nuclear charge, electron cloud expands. Because of these reasons, the size of the anion is greater than the size of the parent atom. So in the case of atoms, cations and anions, the sizes are in the order anion greater than atom greater than cation. For example, this atomic size or ionic size of iodide ion is greater than iodine atom, which is greater than the size of I plus ion. In the same way, the size of H minus ion is greater than hydrogen atom, which is greater than H plus ion. So anion size is greater than neutral atom, which is greater than the size of cation. Next, variation of ionic radii in a group and in a period. How does the ionic radii vary? The ionic radii also vary in the same manner as in the case of atoms in a group and in a period. Radii of ions having identical charges increase in going from top to bottom in a group. Usually, the atoms present in a group form same kind of ions. For example, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium and cesium have the same kind of outer electronic configuration NS1. So all of these lose only one electron, so they form the monopositive ions. All of these form the monopositive ions like Li plus ion, Na plus ion, K plus ion, Rb plus ion, Cs plus ion. Monopositive ions are formed. In the same way, the elements in the second group, that is beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium and barium, form the dipositive ions. As they have Ns2 electronic configuration, they form dipositive ions. Which one? The alkaline earth metals form the dipositive ions. So in the case of identical charges of ions, when we move from top to bottom in a group, the ionic radii gradually increases just like the atomic radii. This can be observed in this curve. Earlier we observed that the green colored line represents the variation of atomic radii, whereas the red colored line represents the variation of ionic radii. In the first group, these are the ionic radii. The variation of atomic radii and ionic radii are in the same manner. In the second group also, they are in the same manner. The radiation of atomic radii and ionic radii are in the same manner. The ionic radii are smaller compared to atomic radii. that is the line showing the ionic radii, that is cation, for cation lies below the line showing for the atomic radii of neutral atoms. In the second group elements also it is shown like that. The blue colored line represents the variation of atomic radii, whereas the red colored line represents the variation of ionic radii. The first figure shows the variation of radii in the alkali metals. Second figure shows the variation of radii in the alkaline earth metals. For isoelectronic ions, the ionic size decreases as the nuclear charge increases. Isoelectronic ions. What is meant by isoelectronic ions? Isoelectronic ions are the ions possessing the same number of electrons but different atomic numbers. That means they are the ions of different atoms but possessing same number of electrons. For example, neon possesses 10 electrons. There is total of 10 electrons in neon. Na plus, sodium atom has 11 electrons. If one electron is removed, it also has 10 electrons. Magnesium has 12 electrons. If 2 electrons are removed, 10 electrons are present. Aluminium has 13 electrons. If 3 electrons are removed, it also has 10 electrons. Silicon has 14 electrons. In the formation of Si4 plus, there will be 10 electrons. In the same way, fluorine has 9 electrons. Fluoride ion has 10 electrons by the gain of 1 electron. Oxygen has 8 electrons. It gains 2 electrons and becomes oxide ion and possesses 10 electrons. The 7 electrons are present in nitrogen atom. In the nitride ion, 3 electrons are gained, so 10 electrons are present. And in carbon, there are 6 electrons, whereas in the formation of C4 minus 4 electrons are gained, 10 electrons. All these species contain the same number of electrons, but their nuclear charges are different. The atomic numbers are different, but all of them possess 10 electrons. This kind of ions are said to be the isoelectronic ions. In the case of isoelectronic ions, when we move from left to right, that is, as the atomic number increases, the ionic radii gradually decrease. The reason is, as the atomic number increases, the nuclear charge increases, but all of them possess the same number of electrons, but the nuclear charge is being increased when we move from left to right in this. So the effective nuclear charge increases. Because of the increase in the effective nuclear charge, the size of the ion decreases. Because of that, Na plus ion is bigger in size compared to Mg2 plus ion. With the same reason, Mg2 plus ion is bigger in size compared to Al3 plus ion. What is the reason for the bigger size of Mg2 plus ion compared to Al3 plus ion? The effective nuclear charge is more in magnesium than in aluminium, though both of them possess the same number of electrons. Here, the oxide ion is bigger in size compared to fluoride ion. The reason is the effective nuclear charge is more in fluoride ion compared to oxide ion. So the ionic size is less in the case of fluorine. Right? Ions of different elements having the same number of electrons are called isoelectronic ions. This is the variation of ionic radii in the elements. Now let us go to the variation of ionic radii in d block elements. The general trend in the variation of ionic radii in the d block elements is also the decreasing trend, gradually decreasing trend, but the decrease is not uniform. The trend is not uniform, that is, decreasing trend is not uniform in the case of these d block elements. This figure shows the variation of ionic radii in F block elements. There is a steady decrease of ionic radii in the F block elements. So these are the variations of atomic radii and ionic radii in a period and in a group. Let us discuss some other periodic property in the next class. Thank you.